to the Unleash Greatness podcast with your host, Jonathan Mitchell. The best in personal, emotional, spiritual, and business development.
Well, happy day to you as well, people out there. I hope you're having a happy, wonderful day. This is myself and I, Jonathan Mitchell, Unleash Greatness podcast. Thank you again, as always, for listening in. Super excited. As per usual, I just live in a constant state of excitement, apparently. And just want to say thank you again for tuning in. Today is Spiel Day, so I get to talk about some random subjects. I actually have one. The talk we're going to do today is about the gift of doubt and what to do when you have doubting feelings, thoughts, experiences, whatever. As usual this week, we are sponsored by naturalmedicineMamas.com. Check out the website for some amazing products for alternative and natural health, both for men and women and kids. Amazing, amazing stuff. I use it myself personally. And check it out. Tune in. We're going to have a good time today. Thank you again. This is Unleash Greatness. Well, hello. It is I, Jonathan Mitchell. Once again, today is Spiel Day. To make sure you guys have some background on this, so Spiel Day came from an experience I had with at-risk youth in Chicago and in St. George, Utah, when I used to be an at-risk youth counselor. So once upon a time, my whole job was revolving around teaching these kids who came from very well-to-do families who had Audis when they were 15 on their first car. These kids who had problems with drugs and gangs and all sorts of weird, crazy stuff they're getting themselves into. My job was to teach these kids how to work, like manually physical labor. And so I'd go out and we'd dig ditches and build fences and we do all kinds of this kind of stuff because I'm from Idaho. I grew up on a pseudo kind of like a farm, but I had to build fences and dig ditches and all that kind of stuff growing up. Even though my dad owned his own business, it was very important to him to teach us work ethic. Even though we didn't necessarily have to work, he wanted us to work so we knew how to. So, which I've always appreciated, and that was my job, was to help the kids learn how to work, which was fun and definitely challenging. At one point, I started doing these Spiel Days where I'd take some of my coaching background. I just started to talk on Thursdays for an hour. I'd take about a half hour, actually. I'd take about a half hour and just talk to these kids about belief systems and success and work ethic and just boundaries, all sorts of different topics. And they got to the point where they first didn't like them so much, and they got to the point where they actually started to like them a lot. And one of the subjects I actually talked on back then that I'm going to talk about today is the gift of doubt. We have so many times there's different things, different topics, different words that have different energy around it. Like, for instance, doubt. Doubt is usually one that has, when people think about the word doubt itself, it doesn't usually come with a positive connotation. It comes with usually some sort of negative, like I'm doubting my trust in this person. I'm doubting my faith in the government. I'm doubting whatever. Usually it comes with a question. Today I just want to talk about why it's a gift and how glad I am that we have the ability to doubt, and how not very much fun it would be to be in a world where I couldn't doubt something being taught, or, couldn't have a choice over those type of things. So obviously we talk about spiritual topics as well. So this can get into a religious type discussion, but I wanted to talk about this just in life in general, whether it's business, religion, spirituality, emotional, whatever. Especially now where authenticity and genuine come from with people is so important. Like I spoke before about being authentic in your style of communication with people. If you're authentic with people, you're not so much going to be held back by, people thinking you're fake or something. It's interesting to see how when you're more authentic and more genuine and more vulnerable, the less doubt there is in people's minds. And even if there is doubt, it can be overwhelmed by your ability to be vulnerable. But I'll get to that in a second. So the gift of doubt. When I think of doubt in the positive connotation, I think about all the things I've heard in my life that I may not have believed when I first heard them. At one point, I was more on the agnostic, atheistic level. My family and I went through some pretty crazy things when I was younger. My dad's oldest brother killed himself when I was about 11. He was an alcoholic and went through some bad stuff with his family and couldn't take it, and eventually just took his life. And after that, about 6 months, both my mom's parents died. My mom's mom from ovarian cancer, and then my mom's dad about a week later from a heart attack. And then about 6 months after that, my mom's brother went to Mexico, and through a random series of events where he took my deceased grandpa's truck over the border to go scuba diving, and did not know that my grandpa had some guns in the back. And so when he came back over, my uncle got taken at the border and was in jail in Mexico for 6 to 9 months. At the time, we had no idea how we were going to get him back. So within a year and a half period of time, we went through hard time after hard time after hard time, and I started to doubt a lot of things. Religion I grew up in, I started to doubt what was safe or what was not safe. I started to doubt a lot of different things about my social life, just because at that time, at the same time where my uncle took his life, my dad's other two brothers came out as gay, and back at the time in the very Christian neighborhood that we were in, it was looked down on. Like, I was ridiculed because my uncles were gay and because my other uncle killed himself, even though I had nothing to do with it. But as a kid, I remember other kids were making fun of me, which how they found out about it, I had no idea. But apparently everyone knew, because back in the early 90s, that was a big deal to be gay in a very Christian place. And here it's like, I know for people it's still challenging, but it's a lot more open now than it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Kind of crazy. So I doubted a lot. And the nice thing I respect and love about my parents is that they never forced me to believe anything. They supported me in my journey, and they just made sure that I knew that they loved me and supported me, and they were here for me and told me what they believed, but definitely didn't say anything like, you got to believe this way, this is how it is. They always respected my ability to think for myself and to find answers for myself and see what I thought about all sorts of things. So that's what kind of began my journey as a coach, was wanting to have the abilities and skills to help people in hard places, because there's hard stuff that happens in this life. And I want to be able to have the skills to enable people to become better, to unleash the greatness, just like this podcast is. The one tool that I use as a coach is doubt, because I love to have people use the gift of doubt when they think about their false beliefs about themselves. When someone comes to me for a coaching session and they tell me about how, all their belief systems come out, they may not know that I'm hearing their belief systems, but when someone speaks to me, I can hear, I'm not enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not blah, 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 blah. And I love to inject the gift of doubt into that circumstance and say, are you sure that you're not enough? Like, have you ever doubted that that's the lie and that the truth is maybe something else? Have you ever thought that what you've believed your whole life about yourself is wrong, and that you can be so much more than what you think you can be, and the reason why you're not is because you literally believe that you can't be? So there's the gift of doubt of doubting false beliefs of yourself, doubting false beliefs of a culture, false beliefs of, spirituality or religion or products even. Like, it's becoming so much now because of like product reviews and that kind of stuff. People are becoming more authentic with their experience with any brand out there, whether it's a mattress or a phone or a car or whatever. People have the ability to really fine tune and say, okay, I really don't like this product for whatever reason. And so it makes it so people doubt and are willing to look out before they even purchase anything. I mean, I don't know of anybody out there who doesn't at least look at reviews when it comes to a product that is somewhat, from a car to a house to whatever. People look at reviews, and if they have anything negative, doubt starts to creep in. And I think that doubt is a gift, and it's a good thing, because then it makes you search more for the answers. It has you looking into finding if that is really a good spot for you, whether it's a product or maybe it's a job and you're not sure if the culture and the fit's good for you. There's a lot of different areas where doubt is a massive and amazing power and gift that we can use to progress. One other thing I would say, I'd also, on the regular definition of doubt, to truly doubt something, to question if it is true, or not, again, that is a gift. To be able to be human and have the ability to say, I'm not sure if I believe that. I'm not sure if I'm willing to take on that, thought process. How awesome is it that we live in a nation, in a place that we can say, I don't accept that belief system. I don't accept that the politician's standpoint. I don't accept that marketing plot. I don't accept the propaganda. I just choose to not accept this. It's just awesome. The point that I want to make out to you is when you become so doubtful that it starts to destroy any ability you have to make your energy flow into a positive direction. For me, when I think of doubt, the whole purpose of doubting something is so I can find the correct path, the better product, the right course of action, the better belief system. It's for me to find the right, correct, highest, the best, whatever you want to call it, way so that I can function better as a human being in whatever capacity that's talking about. In other words, it's good for us to be able to doubt so we can then find the best possible. What I want you to do with yourself, if you don't mind a challenge, is to just think about some of the things you may believe about yourself and just ask the question, why do I believe this? I don't care if it's a good belief or a bad belief. Like, for instance, maybe you have an amazing business, you're doing awesome, your marriage is great, and blah, blah, blah. If you're stopped to think and say, well, why is this happening? And not necessarily doubt why it's happening. I'm not trying to instill a doubt, fearful type aspect or viewpoint. It's more of just saying, what do I believe about myself? Am I being held back? Am I being complacent? Let's just really take a look at where you're at and just inject a little bit of doubt to say, is this what I want? Is this where I want to be? Or is there something, or can it be better? Can I make this progress into my life into a way that's better and highest and best for everyone? Not only that, but it's looking at, even this podcast. I mean, anything I say on this podcast, if you doubt what I say or the guests say, that's awesome. I want you to be able to think about what you believe and what you think from your perspective, what rings true and resonates to you. I love when a client comes to me and says, I'm not sure if I'm willing to take on that belief system. And I'm like, awesome. I love that. I always ask people to give it maybe a chance of being truth. What if maybe this belief system of you not quite being enough, what if that's the lie? And what if you being more than enough is the truth and you just haven't believed it your whole life? You don't have to, take on that belief system that you're amazing and awesome and more than enough. But what if it was true? Maybe it is. Same thing with any political, propaganda agenda. For me, it's interesting to listen to the politicians of today and all the left wing and right wing and all this conservative versus liberal and Democrats versus the Republicans and independent moderates and all this different stuff. It's amazing to me that people aren't willing to have discussions in a way that doesn't become so emotional and personal, because it's okay to doubt and to take a look at like a super conservative person. It's okay to doubt and say, maybe this isn't necessarily the highest and best way. I mean, I take on this view, but why would this other person take on the super liberal view? And the same, like with guns or abortion or whatever. Just be willing to doubt some things. I've always found that if I'm willing to doubt something, and the reason why I told this story is when I was a kid, is because I had the space, I had permission to doubt everything. Religion, God, family, what I wanted to do with my life, everything. I had permission to do that. And even though I came back around to, this was years later, but even though I came back around to, believing in God and being a Christian and accepting my family, my friends, accepting my path, even though it took me time to get back around there, now that I'm here and because I gave myself the ability to doubt, I'm more secure in my beliefs, and I didn't just fall into them. I didn't just happen to go into these. They weren't just beliefs that my parents ingrained in me and that's all I've ever known. I have doubted everything that I've ever done, where I live, what I do, what I think, what I see, and it always makes me stronger, or it makes me look into a different way of living that's better, and that's great. What you can always rely on, in my opinion, is just your soul, Your soul is connected to, I mean, I don't care if you believe in God or not, but there is a higher power. There is a source, and I believe our souls are connected to that source. And that source is always the connection to our truth. Not our truth, to the truth. Like, truth is things as they were, as they are, and as they really will be, like as they really are. Not from my perspective, but the truth as it really is. Sometimes we as humans have limits in our perspective and what we see, touch, taste, smell, hear. We have limits. I don't catch everything. But the truth is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, right? My brother-in-law told me once that you think with your head, it leads logic, that kind of stuff, but it can lead you wrong because logic only gets you so far. Even your heart, your emotions. Your heart can lead you to a certain point because you feel stuff, but you don't want to, not necessarily trust them, but you always want to go with your gut. He said that's what leads you to where you need to be. And in Hindu, funny enough, they say that right above your between your third and fourth chakra, that's where your soul is stored, and that's where your gut is, right there, right in the middle of your tummy. I'm patting my tummy right now. I don't know if you can hear that. So trust in your gut. What you feel is correct. If you feel like something needs to be doubted, give yourself the space to doubt, but don't sit in the doubt. Let it be a vehicle to change and to progress in a good way. Be willing to look at, earlier this week I talked about the devil's advocate. This is pretty much what this conversation is about, is that you're being a devil's advocate to your own belief systems, to what you think, what you feel, what is being positioned and marketed to you, or any message out there that's coming to you. You have the ability to doubt, and you have full permission to do so. Use the gift of doubt to give yourself the ability to become more, to be better, to get stronger, and to overcome anything that may be holding you back. Just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in this week, you guys. I'm very, very grateful for this medium, for being able to use a podcast to talk about what I think and feel and share other people's views. I think it's awesome. Have any thoughts for me, or if you have any stories, please go to the website, unleashg.com, and share your own story, and I'd love to share it on the podcast. You guys are amazing, and tune in next week. We'll be back.